Hello everyone, my name is Matan and I like Barefoot Sandals.
We love you, Matan.
They seem like a healthy footwear option, they're potentially cheap, and they feel liberating. I use the Xero Shoes Genesis Sandals as my preferred option. The issue is I have a 4-year-old daughter and the Genesis sandals don't come in her size. In general, the barefoot footwear selection for kids is pretty small and expensive. So I decided to try and make her a pair of barefoot sandals. I really like my Genesis sandals, so I decided to go for a similar design with two major changes. To fit the sandals on your foot, you have to adjust these small buckles. And I noticed that after using them for a while and getting a bit of dirt on them, they can get pretty stuck, making adjusting them pretty hard. So for a 4-year-old, that's a no-go. I decided to add hook and loop straps on all three sides to let her adjust them more easily. Additionally, on the bottom of the sandal, there's a small rubber puck that keeps the toe strap in place. I've had that rubber puck come out once during a hiking trip, and well, I couldn't really use my sandals afterwards since I couldn't fix it. The plastic part connecting the main strap to the toe strap is one piece that, from what I saw, doesn't open. So you would have to somehow open up the laces and remove the plastic part. I assume you would have to cut the laces, so that kind of sucks. Because of that, I decided to add the ability to replace the toe strap using some kind of clasp, so that if the toe puck ever came out, I'd be able to easily replace it. Alright, let's jump into it. I started by making a sandal for myself, so I could go through a few iterations without having to do all the measurements with my daughter. I went through 3 or 4 iterations overall until I felt like I got a good result. I started with measuring my foot and creating a template from it. This is an easy enough process. Just trace your foot on a piece of paper while making sure the pencil is upright. I positioned the toe strap hole, which should be slightly towards your index toe, supposedly to hold the foot better in cases with slight internal pronation, which is the norm. Also, I positioned the slits for the main straps. On the medial side, or toward the center of the body, the slit should be just below the malleolus, that bony extrusion on the side of your ankle. On the lateral side, or away from the center of the body, the slit should be anterior or in front of the malleolus, since the area directly below the lateral malleolus is quite bony, and a buckle sitting there wouldn't be very comfortable. Next, I cut the paper to size and copied it onto a rigid cardboard. I suppose it would have been easier to just do it directly on the cardboard, but oh well. I then added some safety margin around the foot shape, about 1 centimeter, and cut out the cardboard shape. I now have a foot pattern for both feet, assuming my feet are pretty much mirror images of each other. I got some rubber sheets. My initial prototypes were done on a slightly cheaper 3mm Adama Natural Camel, and I saved the more expensive Vibram Cherry 4mm rubber sheet for the final iteration. So you'll probably see the rubber sheet changing color a few times during the video. I copied the pattern from the cardboard onto the rubber sheet and cut the holes and slits. Cutting these rubber sheets can be a bit difficult. Make sure to get a good quality pair of scissors. I stole my wife's scissors. They got the job done, but they did get a bit bent out of shape. And make sure you don't pass the blame on to your kids for dropping the scissors or something. Whew, that feels good getting off my chest. Love you, honey. For cutting the toe hole, I used a regular leather hole punch. I used a 3mm size hole, just big enough to pass the strap through. If you need to, you can always enlarge it later. For the side slits, I again stole some of my wife's sewing scissors. They're definitely not meant to cut rubber sheets, but after enough abuse, they managed to cut through. And repeat for the other side. Next up, I used the 25mm nylon strap to add side straps to both slits. Always remember to sear the edges to prevent fraying. By the way, this is my first time sewing, so bear with me here. I reckon it could also be done using a sewing machine, though a lot of the sewing going on in this project is quite delicate, so not sure how much easier it would be. I made sure to sew the side straps at the bottom to make sure all the following straps sewn on will be as low as possible to avoid the malleoli, or the bony bits. By the way, notice how I start by inserting the needle from the side away from the foot and finish on the same side to make sure that the starting and finishing knots don't come in contact with the foot. The side straps should be long enough to at least reach the malleolus. We can always trim the excess in the end. Next up, I need to add buckles to the side straps. In previous iterations, I added the buckles directly on the side straps, but they always bothered me a little bit. So I decided to add covers out of 38mm nylon webbings on the buckles and then sew the covers on the side straps. The medial side gets a buckle for 2 straps, and the lateral side gets a buckle for 1 strap. I sew the cover from 2 sides and leave the other 2 sides to sew on the side straps. I try to put the covers as low as possible on the side strap to make sure I don't reach the malleoli. Then I repeat on the lateral side with the buckle for a single strap. Now it's time to make some rubber pucks. I used a lug with an inner diameter of around 13 millimeters and a thickness of 2.5 millimeters for the puck shape, and a washer with an inner diameter of around 5 millimeters and a thickness of around 1 millimeter to protect the rest of the nylon webbing. As you can probably assume, this was improvised. Use whatever you can. I found that melting around 7 centimeters of the nylon webbing is enough to create a puck in my case. And leave around 10 extra centimeters for the strap on the foot side. We can trim that later. It took me about 5 minutes to melt the nylon webbing. Try not to melt it into a complete puddle, as the nylon webbing below might start to get damaged. So melt until it seems to be enough. Additionally, try to remove the webbing immediately after stamping the melted nylon, because once it's cooled enough, it'll be pretty hard to get it out, in my case at least. Bear in mind, this might take a few tries. Next, we need to pass the toe plug strap through the toe hole we made. Notice how the strap is folded. That way it will be comfortable for the wearer. The length of the toe strap is important, especially for kids, as there's not a lot of wiggle room. We'll get to it later. First, I measured how long the ankle strap should be. Then sewed it right above the buckle cover on the lateral side. Next, I went on to measure the main side strap length. I then attached the main straps to one another at around a 90-degree angle. Leave extra length after the attachment. You'll see why soon. I'm using 15mm nylon webbings for the ankle and the main straps. Remember I talked about adding a clasp to the toe strap? Well, this is what I came up with. They're called a hook and eye closure. I fold the nylon strap in two to make it more stable, hold one part of the closure, and sew it in place. The closure should reach the edge of the folded webbing. Now the side that requires a bit more accuracy. This closure needs to be far enough away from the toes so they don't touch them, but also in the right position on top of the foot, away from any bones. For small kids' feet, this is especially tricky, as there's not a lot of margin for error. After measuring correctly, I hold it with a clip and sew it in place. This turned out okay. though the toe strap could have been slightly shorter, since the clasp was getting close to a bony area. Next up is looping the straps inside the buckles. After finishing that, I tightened all 3 straps and fixed them in place with clips. I walked around a bit to make sure it felt comfortable. I then marked positions to sew hook and loop straps on. That's 2 locations for each strap. My wife helped me sew on the hook and loop straps in place. I made sure to put the rough hook strap facing away from the foot so it doesn't come in contact with it. Side note here, it's important not to sew on the hook strap itself, but rather on the selvage or the sides of the strap, since apparently sewing directly on the hooks themselves may cause some of the hooks to pass through the strap to the other side, and thus cause slight irritations wherever it touches the foot. Then I trimmed the straps a bit. Though in hindsight, I should have left the straps slightly longer and folded them onto themselves to create something nice to hold, and to prevent the straps from passing through the buckles. This is what I did for my daughter's sandals. I walked and ran with them for a few days to make sure nothing was off, until I decided to make a pair for my daughter. And here's the result. My wife hand sewed some bling bling, also known as sequin, that my daughter chose to make the sandals look nicer. And my daughter seems to actually like them. She's been wearing them daily for a few weeks now. Alright, now I'll leave you with some videos of my daughter showing off her new sandals and me going overboard with slow motion videos. Let me know if you have any suggestions to improve these sandals. Hope you enjoyed and or learned something, and see you next time.